Hi students, just one final help video here to talk a little bit about the papers that you'll be writing during this class. Again, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here because the writing assignments during the early part of the course will help prepare you for this. But I wanted to give you a sense of what these papers will be about. These will be 3 to 4 page papers on the longer text that we read. So on the Barkai and on the Song of Roland, there'll be 3 to 4 page historical analyses of the sources. And that means they're going to kind of set out the context of the source, give kind of an overview of the source, but most of all, they're going to be explaining why the source is important for understanding the period in which it was written. So for the Barkai, why is this source important for understanding ancient Greek history? What does this source teach us about ancient Greek history that we wouldn't necessarily learn from reading a textbook? What extra layers of complexity does reading a primary source like this provide? And I've provided an outline here that I would strongly advise you to follow. First page, you're going to talk about the author, the background of the source, and then you're going to provide your thesis. What does this source teach us about this particular period? Why is this source so important? And then the next couple of paragraphs on the first page and the beginning of the second page will be where you provide an explanation of the context of the source. This is a part that sometimes people miss, sometimes people forget, but it's very important to change what could just be a book review into a historical analysis. It's very important that you connect the sorts of things that the text is talking about with the broader historical context. What's going on in ancient Greece at this time that the Barkai might help explain? And then the next 3 paragraphs, end of the second page, most of the third page, is when you'll be talking about some of the major themes of the source that you've identified. So not just summarizing the source, not just giving an overview of the source, but saying what are the ideas that the author of the source continues to push, consistently promotes throughout this source. And then the 4th page, the last part of the paper, that's where you bring it all together. Connect back to the thesis and explain what this source teaches us, the perspective that this source gives us on, in this case, ancient Greek society, that we wouldn't gain from a textbook, that we wouldn't gain from a surface level examination. But what have we learned from going into a source that was written at the time, from hearing the ancient Greeks speaking in their own words? What have we learned about the values, the concerns of this society that we're studying? So I hope this is a helpful introduction to writing your paper. I hope it helps you think about the structure of your paper. As always, don't hesitate to talk to me. As always, when we go in here, you'll see that it's possible to view the rubric. I'm not going to talk about that here, again, because I have a whole writing assignment that goes into the rubric in more detail. But again, just so you know, the rubric is available. Always study the rubric if it's available before turning the assignment in. So I hope this gives you groundwork to be excited about your papers, maybe start reading the Barkai, and a sense of what I'm looking for going forward.